I still have no idea what I'm doing. How do you do the right thing if there is no right thing? Hello and welcome back to another video. I hope the lighting's okay because I changed it a little bit, so yeah. Today is Friday, January 12th, 2018. Today I'm going to be talking about OCPD, or Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder, and how it affects me personally, as well as just like what it is in general. But first, I would like to start with a quick little channel update. I'm going to be aiming for shorter but better videos because this semester I have less classes and I'm hoping for a spare, so then if I can get all my homework done during my spare, then I can come home and make better quality videos. At least, you know, that's the hope. As for my channel specifically though, because it's called Emma Anxiety, I can't exactly change the title around, but I do want to be talking a bit more broadly about mental health and mental illnesses in general, especially now that I have this personality disorder, which is not technically an anxiety disorder as OCD is. And keep in mind also please that I am learning about this too, but I did want to put up a factual video so I could talk more about it and how it affects me in other ways without anyone being too confused. So from my current understanding, I haven't delved too deep into this yet. I'm hoping to talk about it in my next video for differences between personality disorders versus anxiety disorders, or even just OCD. OCPD affects all aspects of your life, being that it's a personality disorder, which means it affects your personality. It's not just like something in your brain, it deals with like thoughts, behaviors, and like actions that literally affect all of you. And like who you are as a person, which is completely different to other mental illnesses that aren't really associated with that because of the whole thing like you are not your mental illness. I also want to make a video on that sometime later, but I haven't figured out how I want to approach it yet. But stay tuned because whenever I do, I'm sure it'll be a good video. Now onto the official DSM-5 criteria, and also please keep in mind that I will be quoting directly from a website that had the exact like definitions as well as the symptoms or what you need to be diagnosed with the disorder. If you see me looking off to the side at all, it's because I'm looking to my laptop so I can directly quote and also reference what I'm about to say because I scripted it because I want this to be a fairly detailed, in-depth video. OCPD, or Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder, in the DSM-5, which is like the official dictionary, I guess, for like psychological disorders. It's defined as a pervasive pattern of orderliness, perfectionism, and mental and interpersonal control at the expense of flexibility, openness, and efficiency, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 4 or more of the following symptoms. Number 1 is preoccupied with details, rules, lists, order, organization, or schedules to the extent that the major point of the activity is lost. Please note that some of these symptoms, or the examples that I'm giving for these symptoms, might not be entirely accurate with how they're ordered. An example of this might be that I often make plans with people and they often cancel, which leads me being very disappointed because if something doesn't go to plan, I am like incredibly disappointed and in disbelief. Like I've actually lost a friendship over this before because every time she'd say no, I'd be like aggressively disappointed, and then it would obviously make her feel bad and it made me feel bad, and it was just really unhealthy. I have a very intense work ethic as well, which is likely due to my perfectionism. Otherwise, I would honestly just probably be an average student because I'm smart, but that's only because I work so hard at the things that I do. Another example is trying to come up with better and more proper and more accurate examples for these. Preoccupation with details, as in this should be sorted this way so this flows properly and makes sense. Number 2, shows perfectionism that interferes with task completion. For example, is unable to complete a project because of his or her own overly strict standards are not met. Like, last night, I stayed up till like 9:30 trying to complete a chart for social studies for something that I knew wasn't going to be on my exam, but I was stressed because I hadn't actually covered all the course content for the exam, and I had time to, but I didn't because instead of just learning the basics, which I needed to do so I could get everything done in time, I decided that I had to like learn everything and know everything and do the cue cards at the same time as that. For example, that last section there, I'll try to zoom it in, hopefully it focuses. Look at how filled in this is. It would be great if I had time, but I do this with everything, especially school related. Can you imagine how much time that takes up? I swear, I hate to say this, but this probably took me 3 hours, and really, if I was working efficiently like a normal person would be, it could probably take them half an hour just to jot in a few little notes. Other side. So then I didn't actually get to read chapter 13 and 14. Basically, my priorities are a little flawed. So is my time management, which I struggle with so much because most of the time I'm just like, well, however long it takes me to do this, it takes me to do this. Like, I can't rush, have to have an understanding of it. Although my definition of understanding is much different than just a basic concept of what's going on. We're only at number 3 and we're like 20 minutes in. Is excessively devoted to work and productivity to the exclusion of leisure activities and friendships, not accounted for by obvious economic necessity. This is one of my friend's favorite examples of me. She thinks it emulates me perfectly. One time I dreamed I got 110% on a math test, which is obviously impossible because like even perfect isn't enough for me, so I feel like that's a really accurate representation. I'm an all or nothing person, except I'm an all person because apparently nothing's possible, so then I just try to do everything and put in 110% into everything, and then that doesn't work out, so it ends up being 110 versus 0. I often spend wasting away my weekends and my weeknights just working and working and working and working. Like, you'd think a whole 2 days you could work for like 2 hours and get stuff done, but because I have the whole weekend, I will be as perfectionistic as I literally can be to try to make everything great because I have the time to, even though, like I said, I still go overboard, so I don't have enough time to actually complete things, but I think I do, so then I just spend way more time on everything because I can. I'm honestly working so much that I've honestly, literally forgotten how to relax. I can't relax. I just sit there and I'm bored, aka depressed, because I'm glad that I have nothing to do because work stresses me out, but at the same time I don't understand how to work with relaxing. Number 4 is overconscientious, scrupulous, and inflexible about matters of morality, ethics, or values, not accounted for by cultural or religious identification. AKA, I am right, and you are wrong. But that's my interpretation when I first read it, and I'm like, not really, I'm pretty accepting and can generally see all sides of a situation, and I understand those sides. But I looked it up again. Dictionary.com, when I looked it up for more understanding, says overconscientious means controlled by or done according to one's inner sense of what is right. I do always try to do the right thing, but sometimes I don't know what the right thing is. Like, is the right thing taking care of myself, or is the right thing being a good student? So an example of that would be my belief in self-sacrifice or selflessness, and hard work over fun and selfishness. Like my crisis I had in the car one time when I realized that there's not actually necessarily one right answer and right is different for everybody, and I still couldn't figure out what right meant for me. It was a struggle. It still is a struggle. I still have no idea what I'm doing. How do you do the right thing if there is no right thing? Number 5 is unable to discard worn out or worthless objects, even when they have no sentimental value. Kind of funny, because I literally thought, oh, I don't do this. I don't hoard things, until I realized that I do the little weird things that normal people probably wouldn't do. Like, I save tiny little bits of food like my grandmother does and put them in little Ziploc bags. If there's like 4 little peppers that I didn't eat, I'll like stick them in a bag and be like, oh, but I'll save them for later, and I'll eat them later even if I don't. Like, same with leftovers. I feel guilty like throwing out food because I'm like, oh, I could have eaten that, or it could be used for something. Maybe I'm just environmentally friendly, or maybe I'm a hoarder maniac. But I think I'm probably somewhere in between because I'm not necessarily doing it for the purposes of save the world, save the environment, even though I do feel strongly about the environment and I want to save all the issues and all the things of the world. I'm not a total hoarder maniac because at least I recognize that I do it and I can throw things away if I realize that there's too many. If you really want to know how extreme I can be though, here's an embarrassing factoid. One time I was going to save my pill capsules that I empty out for my medicine to make bracelets out of them. Everyone would buy pill bracelets. I don't make bracelets. I don't want to make bracelets. So then I ended up throwing them out. Once I realized that that was never going to happen. It just took me a little longer than it would have taken the average person. Number 6 is reluctant to delegate tasks or to work with others unless they submit to exactly his or her way of doing things, also known as my way or no way. Group projects. I hate group projects because I have to work with other people who do not want to work. This happened, for example, 2 days ago in social class when we were supposed to just, help each other out, because that's kind of the benefit of group projects. Most of the time, this actually isn't too much of a problem because I don't tell people that they're bothering me. And that's because of my social anxiety that I also have, which is super fun. No, it's not. I basically just stood up from my seat and I'm like, we need to work because not working physically bothers me, so can we please just do something? And I was like so visibly annoyed and irritated and like really cruel almost to the person I was talking to. And then someone said like, well, that's so out of character for you, but like, good job, because I was like standing up for myself so we could actually do something. It was driving me crazy because I tried, it's such a balance to try to find like not offending people, not being too bossy, but getting your point across, and that time I was just too bossy. And I also do this other really embarrassing thing where it's literally my way or no way, because I ask until someone says yes, or I desperately need to or try to convince them. Sometimes it's more like a subtle form of manipulation or persuasion skills, but with my mom, kind of just bug her and make her mad until she gives in, which is really cruel and not good. And I know it's not a good idea, and I know I should just accept that no means no, but I think also it is because I literally cannot deal with rejection in any form, whether that's like a plan or an idea or like even just a pre-ingrained thought that I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And then if it can't happen, then I'm like, oh, well, it has to happen because I just thought that it would happen, so that means it has to. Oh, fun realization. I also do get really mad when people say they're gonna do something and then they don't. So again, if my mom's like, hey, I'm gonna go have a shower, and then she doesn't for like an hour, I get actually mad at her. I'm like, you should be in the shower. Aren't you gonna go shower? Why didn't you shower? Which is really ridiculous because it doesn't actually matter what they do or don't do. But it probably has to do with my idea of plans and things. It's like, this way, it has to be this way. You have to do the thing that you said you were gonna do. Have to. Number 7, adopts a miserly spending style toward both self and others. Money is viewed as something to be hoarded for future catastrophes. This one is the one that doesn't really apply to me very much anymore. When I was younger, I kind of thought that way. I'm like, I don't need to buy any like this little thing or this drink for myself because I should save it for like college or buying a car or marrying somebody or, any kind of big event that happens in life where people need money and don't have money. Which is really smart to like save your money for things that you'll need in the future, but instead I just kind of went the opposite way and I'm like, I'm just gonna spend all my money on food and music and books. Because people have convinced me to spend for myself because I'm young and shouldn't have to save all my money for things. I still do regret buying things for myself like food. I bought myself a wrap and a Starbucks drink today, and I should feel good about it because, yay, I just did 2 exams and had a really hard, stressful week, and it's fun, and I thought I'd reward myself, and I do feel good about it, but I also am like, okay, but you could have used that money for something better, like CDs or books or something you're gonna value and treasure and use for a long time. But either way, I know I will be unhappy because if I don't get it, I'll be disappointed because I'm like, oh man, now that it's in my mind, I really want it, kind of like the plan thing that I was talking about. Like if it's a plan or if it's been planned out or said or done or whatever, then I feel like it has to happen. So if I like get an idea and I want something, it stays in there forever and it's really frustrating. So if I don't have it, then I get upset. Number 8, shows rigidity and stubbornness. For example, I had my first and only NHI in social studies, which means not handed in, so something not handed in, which I freaked out about because I always have things handed in and try my best to get them handed in on time, and if they're not on time or they're late or whatever, I do whatever I possibly can to make it up. And for example, in social studies, it was just like a thing that I didn't know had to be done with a project, but it couldn't be redone. It was like editing or something, like I had to get someone to peer edit my work, but it was too late afterwards, so it couldn't be done. And I'm like, okay, is there anything I can do to fix this? Like, can I submit another assignment, or can I like find someone to peer edit it now, even though it's later? Or my teacher's like, it's literally not going to have an impact on your grade at all, because it was just like such a small part of it, almost like a completion mark, you know, or like a homework check that's not actually worth anything, just to see if you did it, that sort of thing. But even then I'm like, but I really want to, and she's like, just don't worry about it, because like she obviously knows that I overwork ridiculously because she's seen my work. But it still bugs me. I don't just do my homework, I do all my homework. I'm the kid who points out if something's written on the board, or if there was homework last night, or if there's a test. Basically the kid that everyone else hates because I point out all the things they don't want to know but I want to have credit for because I did it. Also, if I'm procrastinating and I recognize I'm procrastinating because there's a thing I don't want to do and I'm not doing it that I need to do, because most of the time I always get started on it right away, so if there's something like that, then I will like play a game on my phone or do something really dumb and basic and like the pure sense of procrastinating where you're just being super lazy. It's almost a way for me to like punish myself for wasting my time, rather than like cleaning my room or drawing or doing something like somewhat productive. All or nothing. I'll immerse myself into whatever I am doing, aware that I'm wasting my time, but being like, no, I won't stop wasting my time because I have to keep wasting my time. I have to waste all the time. So thank you for watching. I'm pretty sure I sat here for half an hour, and this video probably won't be up till like midnight because I'll have so much to edit, because I can't stop talking, because I can't get my words straight, because I'm a perfectionist and I need all the things to work out properly. So if I leave little bits in that seem pointless or me rambling or whatever, it's probably to prove a point.